My name is Roger Gilbert, and I'm a digital nature photographer, and I focus on abstract patterns in nature. I tend not to do landscapes. I've done a few landscapes, but even those tend to be abstract. And how I came about discovering abstract nature in photography is when I first moved up here 3 years ago from Los Angeles. I left my job as a financial planner to pursue nature photography full time. I was sitting in the woods, and the woods is somewhat overwhelming, especially in digital, especially in photography, because the camera captures so much information that it was really totally chaos to me. So I actually spent weeks with my camera, sitting in the forest, walking through the forests, taking very, very few pictures because there was nothing that really appealed to me, nothing that I could see that would inspire me, something that grabbed me emotionally to say, I've got to photograph this. And I was kind of getting despondent about it because after 3 or 4 weeks of walking through the woods and maybe taking a couple of pictures that I thought were really poor, I was on the verge of saying, this isn't going to work for me, maybe I should move back to Los Angeles. When literally a voice came into my head and said, look at the shapes of that rock, photograph that rock. So I started to do that, and then I started to see relationships in this rock that I had never seen before, the lines, the curvature, the way things were interweaving. And I said, wow, that's really cool. I never saw that before. And I also found out it was always on very, very small things. So I started walking around the woods looking for small abstract things in nature when I came across tree bark. And that's what these images are here. These are images of trees that I photographed. This one is a manzanita that I photographed in Sugarloaf Ridge State Park, and this is a European white birch that I photographed in Marin County. And these are actually, in real life, they're very, very small. This piece of bark here from the manzanita is maybe a couple of inches, and likewise this image here of the European white birch is also extremely small. It's maybe about 3 or 4 inches. And I brought with me a reference image here. Hopefully that you'll be able to see this. I put my fingers in this image to give you an idea of how small this really is. These are 2 fingers, and 2 fingers are perhaps an inch here. So from here to here is 2 inches in real life. My work is all emotionally based. It's all about beauty. There's nothing intellectual that I try to accomplish in my work. How I am inspired is simply when I'm walking out in the woods and I'm looking for things to photograph, I get an emotional reaction, something that I feel in my body that says, wow, that's really exciting, that's really cool. I've got to photograph that. And I almost always, not always, but most of the time, 80% of the time, when I feel that way, and then I process the image, which, as I said, are all digitally, I do these in the computer, I go, wow, that's really great. That's a great image. I mean, there's many that I'm not as happy with, but the majority, when I get that surefire feeling that this is something that needs to be expressed within me through my photography, it usually comes out to my satisfaction of being a really good image. So that's what I do. I love doing what I've done. I've been a photographer on and off all my life, but I didn't specialize until about 3 years ago in fine art photography. I love being out in this part of the woods and being in Sonoma County. It's a beautiful place. The richness of the woods and the trees and the ocean and the seascapes is constantly inspiring, and I love what I do, and I'm happy to be doing it. Thank you very much.